In Pit Lane is proudly brought to you by Pit Lane PR, Motorsport Media Services. Yes, welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane. Did you go down to Phillip Island on the weekend? It was a sensational race, a brilliant meeting. I didn't go down there myself because I didn't have any free tickets, of course, but I did watch it on television. It was a great race and absolutely fabulous. Speaking of free tickets, we got some tickets to give. The Australian Superbike after race party is happening at the men's gallery, and they gave us a lot of tickets to give away. Unfortunately, something's happening. There are only 3 left. Now, unfortunately, no, there are only 2 left. Okay, so it's at the men's gallery, the Australian Superbike after race party. There is 1 ticket left. So if you would like to, the Australian Superbike Championship is coming up on all the tickets have gone. So I'm terribly sorry. I don't know. By gee, that was probably the best response we've ever had to a competition. Isn't that remarkable? If you want to meet the In Pit Lane crew, you've got a pretty good idea where they're going to be tomorrow night. Anyway, as I said, yeah, well, Stuart says he'll be working, and we know, but you know, we know what he'll be working at. He'll be actually at Goldfingers performing. He's very, very popular. So let's go. Speaking of Phillip Island, we will go to there a bit later on with the Improved Production Championship. But right now, let's check out all the action from the weekend. This is the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. Incidentally, I do want those. Those tickets back to the crew. I really do. Trust me. Okay, in front of a big crowd of almost 43,000 fans willing on at every turn, Valentino Rossi won last Sunday's Australian MotoGP at Phillip Island, and with it the 2004 World Championship. Rossi came out on top of a brilliant race battle with arch rival Sete Gibernau winning the race with only a few corners remaining. After the race, Rossi was mobbed by fans, and the new champ responded by throwing his helmet into the crowd. Those injured are consulting Slater and Gordon as we speak. Loris Capirossi gave Ducati its best result for the year with a 3rd place. In other races, Sebastian Porto won the 250 race, but the 4th place to Daniel Pedrosa gave him this year's title. Andrea Di Vicenzo, I knew I had problems with that one, a thriller, in the 125s, winning by less than 0.02 of a second. Jorge Lorenzo and Australia's Casey Stoner went across the line together, recording exactly the same race time, but officials awarded the 2nd place to Lorenzo. Well, despite the success of the event, its future remains uncertain, with Grand Prix promoter Dorna reportedly asking the Victorian State Government and the Grand Prix Corporation for a huge increase in the event's licensing fee. Victorian Premier Steve Bracks called for federal government assistance to try and keep the race in Australia, which, according to reports, brings in about $50 million to the local economy. Good luck, Braxy. The big events just keep on coming. This weekend sees the running of the Gold Coast Indy 300. Despite a tumultuous year, the new Champ Car World Series goes into the event confident of its future, despite the move of the rival Indy Racing League into road racing for next year. With over 300,000 fans, the Gold Coast race is one of the season's biggest and the most popular for drivers, coming for the sun, surf and the chance to meet Miss Indy competitors. Of course, the popularity of the race might also have something else to do with the round of the local all-consuming V8 supercar monster fresh from its Bathurst success. The close proximity of the Gold Coast race to Bathurst has caused some teams problems, with Brad Jones Racing losing the battle to have Brad's Aussie male Falcon ready for Indy. Despite a week of frantic work, the team have conceded defeat on the Ford that was severely damaged after ending up on its roof on lap 30 at Bathurst. The team will now prepare their spare Aussie male car for the event. As well, one of Australia's most successful race cars makes a surprise comeback at surface this weekend, known at the Holden Racing team as the Golden Child. The Golden Child. The VXVY Chevrolet powered Comet. I'll say that again. The Golden Child. The VY, the Chevrolet-powered Commodore, won 2 Bathurst 1000s, 2 Clipsal 500s, 2 V8 championships and the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Championship. The car has sat undercover for 12 months before being resurrected last weekend under a special dispensation to race. Like Jones, HRT found insufficient time to repair Todd Kelly's car, which was severely damaged in the incident with the Jones Falcon at Bathurst. Kelly's chasing 6th position in the championship and will switch to Mark Scaife's VY Commodore 4 Surface. Scaife will of course run the Golden Child. Fresh from yet another success at Bathurst, Kmart Racing's current team manager Rob Crawford has been appointed as V8 Supercar Championship Series Technical Director by the Touring Car Entrance Group of Australia. Tiga General Manager Kelvin O'Reilly said Crawford would commence his appointment in 2005, replacing former Technical Director Paul Taylor, who's accepted a senior position in Europe with the World Rally Championship, the lucky bastard. Crawford will continue to be based here in Melbourne. Crawford said he was looking forward to the challenge and to assist in the future growth and development of the championship. Crawford has been manager at Kmart Racing since 2001. He had been team manager for the Holden Young Lions after 6 years with the Arrows Formula One team. The Victorian State Race Series have announced their calendar for 2005. The championship will once again kick off at South Australia's Mallala circuit, despite the concern of some competitors over costs involved with the interstate trip. The series will then alternate between Phillip Island and Sandown, with the first round at the Springvale circuit in November next year. And there are the dates as we speak. A large field of classic Formula Pacific cars of the 1980s and the thundering Group C touring cars will be the highlights of the 2004 Tattersalls Historic Sandown on the weekend of November 6 and 7. Included in the entry list is a rare appearance by the Spirit Honda Formula 2 car of Chris Farrell, David Doubtfire in a Tiga, and the locally built Galloway HG4 of Peter Brennan. There's lots of muscle in the Group C class, with 10 L34 and A9X Tiranas taking on 6 big V8 Falcons. There's a huge field of historic touring cars, while lovers of classic Grand Prix cars will be delighted to see the ERA of Dean Butler entered for Ian Tate. There'll be a rare local appearance of a genuine Le Mans GT40, and the Chev-powered Lola T70 of Rob Sherrard will take on the brutal Porsche 935 Turbo of Rusty French. Add in a couple of Formula 5000s, and it's bound to be one of the motorsport highlights of the year. We'll have more news on that next week on the program. A much-needed boost for Formula One, with news that 2 new teams plan to enter the World Championship by 2006. Midland Formula One will be run by Formula 3 team owner Trevor Carlin. Backed by the Midland Group, an international trading and investment holding company run by Russian businessman Alex Schneider, Midland Formula One is hoping to make its first appearance at the Russian Mafia. They make you an offer you can't understand. The team chassis will be built in partnership with Dallara, but there's no word yet as to an engine. Also coming up, announced last week, was the Team Dubai, which unlike Midland don't have a chassis but do have access to Mercedes engines. Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum, one of the principal backers of the team, and I'm not making any jokes at all about them, thank you very much, said that Dubai was committed to developing and supporting world-class expertise in high-technology industries. Formula One, with its focus on technological and engineering innovation, provides the perfect environment to demonstrate these skills in cutting-edge areas, he said. The team plans to build most of its facilities, including a brand new wind tunnel in Dubai. However, the manufacturing centre will be located in Britain. 3 Formula One engine manufacturers, BMW, Honda and Mercedes, are threatening legal action against the FIA over their plans to introduce new engine regulations in 2006. The FIA intend reducing engine capacity from 3-litre V10s to 2.4-litre V8s as of the start of the 2006 season. However, according to the 3 engine manufacturers, it would be in breach of the Concord Agreement if the engine capacity was changed prior to the end of 2007. Honda Racing Vice President Otmar Schnappauer, great name, told Autosport that Honda joined Formula One on the basis that they would have 3-litre V10s until the end of 2007, as outlined in the Concord Agreement. He said any move to change that would split the sport. Pierre Caffer and Johnny Herbert won the American Le Mans Series finale at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca last weekend. JJ Later and Marco Werner closed out their championship season with a second after they were caught out with a green flag pit stop as the final full course yellow came out for cars sliding off the track due to a sudden downpour. The Lola of Weaver, Wallace and Lightsinger, solicitors at law, was third. Ron Fellows, Johnny O'Connell and Max Pappas were fourth, and the first of the GTS cars home in their Corvette. Marco Martin and Michael Park dominated last week's Tour de Course Rally, the 14th round of the 2004 World Rally Championship. The Estonian claimed victories on 7 of the 12 stages, taking overall victory in his Ford Focus with a margin of more than 2 minutes. But the happiest driver of the weekend was the second place man, Sebastian Loeb. The 8 points he scored for finishing behind Martin were enough to clinch the 2004 World Drivers' Championship, the first title for Loeb, and in addition he claimed the manufacturer's laurels for Citroën. Loeb's Citroën teammate, Carlos Sainz, was third. And over in the IRL, Elio Castro Neves won in Texas, despite a penalty for jumping a restart. 2004 Series champion Tony Kanaan was second, ahead of Dan Weldon. All were driving Delaras. And coming up this weekend, Cars of the World. We spoke to this last week at the Fox Museum. Now, take note of this. Take note of that time. Between 7:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. That is the only time you can go, between 7:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. If you go after 11 a.m., you will have Lindsay himself to answer to, and he'll be very, very upset. Remember that proceeds from that event do go to Retina Australia for repairing and studying eye disease, and so that's all in a good cause. And remember, there's other factors of the meeting over the weekend as well, including on Sunday down at not Fort Gellibrand, somewhere down Fort Torquay or somewhere like that. Anyway, some fort somewhere. Anyway, so head down and take advantage of that on the weekend. It'll be a great thrill. Now, that's all we have time for this week for the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. We'll have more news next week. Okay, and if you'd like to contact us here on In Pit Lane, let us know of any events that are coming up that you'd like us to plug. All you have to do is send us an email to inpitlane@pitlanepr.com. That's inpitlane@pitlanepr.com, or you can send us snail mail, Post Office Box 2646, Rowville, Victoria 3178. And we're going to go to a break, and when we come back from that break, we're going to take you down to the site of the Australian MotoGP, Phillip Island, for round 5 of the 2004 Improved Production Championships of Victoria. That's when In Pit Lane returns right after this break. We'll be right back. Just a reminder that coming up on Melbourne Cup Day will be the final round, the grand final of the Victorian Motor Racing Championships, the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships. I wish you people would really get together. I mean, really, this is becoming absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, next week on the program, we've got a panel. We're going to have lots and lots of special guests on the program talking about and previewing the big event at Sandown on Melbourne Cup Day. Remember, admission is free. More about that next week. Speaking of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships, we went down to Phillip Island just recently. We saw some action from the sports sedans last week. This week, it's the turn of Improved Production. Let's take you to round 5 of the Victorian Improved Production Championships. The cars are coming around on their warm-up lap for round 5 of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championship Improved Production Series. And on pole position will be the car of Cameron Vandendungen in the RX-7. Alongside of him will be William Schutz in the Galaxy Office Papers RX-7. And we have cameras in both of those cars, so the front row of the grid is covered. There's the view from the car of William Schutz. He's on the outside of the track, and we're going to cross in a second. Let's have a look at the view from Cameron Vandendungen's car. There it is. So both sides of the front row are covered as the engines get ready to rise, and we're ready for a start here at Phillip Island. And it's William Schutz who gets the jump at the start from Cameron Vandendungen. Cameron's got a very slow start, gets absolutely swamped by McPherson in the Commodore. Also Craig Costouvier in the Mazda 808, I think it's the Mazda 808 going through there. Yes, it is the 808. That car is all the way down from Darwin. Cameron Vandendungen now goes on the inside of Graham McPherson and takes back third spot. And you can have a look out the front there. Look at the inside front wheel of Costouvier's car hanging in the air. Looks like a pro mod car just about to leave the line at the drags at Eastern Creek or Western Sydney Dragway. But the man in front at the moment coming under the Shannon's Bridge for the first time is William Schutz in the Galaxy Office Papers RX-7. Beautifully turned out car. Dives down into Honda for the first time. Then comes Cameron Vanden Duncan, Christouvier back in third, Tony Skinner in the turbocharged Datsun 1600 back in fourth place. Skinner battling with Vanden Duncan for the lead in this series. You can see the front inside wheel of Christouvier's car going up in the air once again. That car's a real handful, but it's obviously very, very quick, and he's doing a great job on his visit here from the Northern Territory. There'll certainly be much colder conditions than he's used to, as William Schutz leads Vanden Duncan over the hill at Lukey Heights for the first time, and they head down into MG. Riding once again with Vanden Duncan, looking for a way around the outside of Schutz. Now cuts back to what will be the outside of the run onto the main straight. Can he do an over and under here? Come out wide and then come down the main straight and win the drag down the front straight. Two RX-7s, two almost identical cars, and there you can see we've got the view from both the cars now in the box in the corner. You can see the view out of Vanden Duncan's car, and then in the main picture you can see the view that our leader is getting, and that's William Schutz as they go under the bridge once again. Vanden Duncan changes across now, looking for a way up the inside. Can't do it. They go through loop once again. William Schutz protecting his line there, making sure that Vanden Duncan can't get past. Over the crest they go at Southern Loop. And out towards the bridge once again. Track falls away a bit at that point, slightly off camber, and you can see William Schutz still in the lead of Vanden Duncan. In fact, has, if anything, managed to break out a small gap to Cameron. But Cameron very quick, he'll be coming back right on the tail of William Schutz. As they come through the corner now, you can see Tony Skinner has now moved into third place. Let's watch Christouvier again. Here he goes in car number 18. The car's lifting the wheel already. Oh, the circus is in town. Car number 18, Craig Christouvier. I don't know whether he's going to be staying down in Melbourne. Let's hope he is, because that car is certainly worth the price of admission. The thing is, I mean, it is so quick, and when you consider the way it handles, it shouldn't be anywhere near that quick. So if he manages to get the handling set up on that car, very similar approach to the one that Wayne Wakefield had. Wakefield, of course, had the 808 station wagon, and it too was very, very spectacular. Vanden Duncan now looking for a way down the inside of William Schutz as they head back onto the main straight once again. Schutz, however, seems to be very good coming out of that final turn onto the main straight. They come across the line once again. With William Schutz and Cameron Vanden Duncan, and there's smoke from the back of Vanden Duncan's car as they go through Doohan Corner again. You can see there's a trail of smoke which is just getting a little worse there. So there's some problem there with Vanden Duncan. Doesn't seem to be too big a problem at this stage. He's right on the tail once again of William Schutz. The two RX-7s heading down towards the bridge once again. Under the Shannon's Bridge and towards Honda Corner. Vanden Duncan very close. They go down into the braking area of Honda. Braking duel there. A lock up there by William Schutz. Vanden Duncan takes evasive action and has slowed. Cameron Vanden Duncan has slowed very badly. Tony Skinner goes past. Christouvier goes past, and something has broken in Vanden Duncan's car. Vanden Duncan was making a late braking manoeuvre to try and get past on Bill Schutz, but something's gone wrong there, and he dives underneath the flag marshalling point and puts the car out of harm's way. Okay, well, let's see if we can find out what went wrong there. Let's go back into the car now with Cameron Vanden Duncan when that particular problem came up. He sits there and lets the rest of the field go through. Let's have a look at the replay. No drive there at all, so something is clearly broken. A drive shaft, a half shaft, or there's a transmission problem. But whatever it is, that's the end of the race for Cameron Duncan, and that's going to have a major effect on his battle with the man you're seeing now, Tony Skinner, in the Datsun for this year's Victorian State Championship. Skinner has been very, very consistent in this car, and Duncan's had a couple of DNFs. And this is not going to do him very good at all. Now here's the battle going on for fourth. Christouvier seems to be slowing in the background as well. So Craig Christouvier is out, so that particular avenue of entertainment seems to be closed from us. But this is the battle between McPherson and Doug Beaton. Beaton in car number 7. And the big 5.8 litre Commodore of Graham McPherson. Commodore, beautifully turned out car. Tony Floriani built that car, campaigned it very successfully in the past. There you can see the car, the 75 car. William Schutz goes in. William Schutz has gone straight on at Honda, scatters the Seagulls. Now I said he was waiting for a problem. There it is. Now can Tony Skinner take advantage of that? There's Skinner. Where is our leader? There he is now. So Tony Skinner is right on the tail of William Schutz. Schutz went straight on there, so perhaps it's tyres, perhaps a lack of concentration, perhaps the brakes are getting a bit overwarm. But for whatever reason, William Schutz there has had a problem, and that has now opened this race right up again. Once again over Lukey Heights. Down in the middle of NG corner. See, hard braking there by William Schutz. He's got Tony Skinner right on his tail now. So he can't just take the line he wants. He has to have one view on the road ahead, but he also needs an eye in the rear vision mirror as well to make sure that Tony Skinner isn't going to try any sort of out-braking manoeuvre on him or try and come underneath him. They head down the main straight once again. Schutz seems to have managed to break out a bit of a lead again. Car number 99 there coming through. He's in a battle there. That's the car of Rolf Mammers in the RX4. Having a dice there with a couple of the BMWs. Neil Anderson and also Matt Holzman in Lauren Gray's Toyota Corolla. But here is our leader once again, coming around now for the last time. William Schutz, and Skinner is right back up on his tail again. So whether he's made another mistake outside of our field of view, we can't really say, but certainly Skinner is right back up there again. So the race is not over. Skinner right on the tail now of William Schutz as they head out towards the hay shed once again. The Datsun has lots of straight line speed, so if he can just stay close enough around this twisty bit, and he is close enough. He's right on the tail. In fact, he goes to look for a way around the outside, won't make it there, slides out very wide, gets off the racing line. You can see Schutz also battling for a bit of traction there. He goes down, manages to take the inside running once again. So this is the run for the checkered flag. You're riding with William Schutz. He has Tony Skinner right on his tail now. And as they come onto the main straight for the final time, William Schutz will have Tony Skinner just behind him. Can he hold on? Here they come, locked together, but it is William Schutz. He has enough of a gap, and William Schutz, a delighted William Schutz, goes across the line to take round 5 of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championship Improved Production Final. Second place will be Tony Skinner. Then will come Graham McPherson holding out the RX7 of Doug Beaton, and Graham Bell in the BMW 325i, the first of the BMWs, home in 5th position. Now remember, all of the cars from Improved Production will be back in action at the grand final of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Series at Sandown International Motor Raceway on the first Tuesday in November. Yes, it's Melbourne Cup Day, so come along. Admission is free. Bring your champagne, bring your picnic lunches, and make a day of it out at Sandown, a celebration of real horsepower at Sandown. Speaking of which, next week on the program, we're going to be joined by some of the stars of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Series for our grand final preview show. We'll have the panel in. It's going to be, as you've seen in the past with some of these panel shows, anything can happen and probably will. So get your lawyers ready. Until then, we'll see you next week, 9:30, here on Channel 31 for In Pit Lane. Bye for now.